It's another edition of Monday Night Sports Talk on the airnetwork.net. Welcome in on this April 20th edition of Monday Night Sports Talk. Live from Johnstown, we'll have Jimmy Ty with us. Also, Jeff Speck, he'll be calling in and joining us from Huntington. And hopefully, we'll be able to hook up with Dave Shannon just a little bit later, folks. So stick around as we talk a little baseball, football, basketball, and a whole lot more in the way of sports. Jimmy, you with me this evening, live from Johnstown?
Oh, you know I am.
All right, how about you, Jeff? We got you hooked up now?
Can you hear me now?
We can hear him now. Jeff is coming in via phone line tonight, having a little bit of a problem with the Skype, but we'll be okay, guys. Hey, listen, here it is, 420. That's a significant date for those people out there that like to smoke ganja. I had no idea what that 420 thing was about until I happened to look on Facebook today, and somebody straightened me out with the significance of 420. I thought maybe McDonald's was giving out free hamburgers or something. Yeah.
Are they?
Nah, not to be, man. It's all for those pot smokers in Colorado and I guess nationwide. And, you know, they still continue to do that. And let's hope it doesn't get legalized in Pennsylvania. We got enough of our own problems as it is. But, hey, that's another subject for another day, guys. Thanks for joining us. Dave Shannon hopefully joining us a little bit later as he gets set to do his Erie Explosion football talk show with Coach Lara tonight around 8 o'clock. Meanwhile, hey, the Pirates looking half decent these days. Watched Garrett Cole yesterday actually settling down into a 5-2 win against the Brewers as they kind of snapped that little streak they had going against the Brewers, and they kind of, they swept them. So just wanted to kind of pass that past you, Jeff. You seeing anything the first week or first 2 weeks that impressed you with the Pirates thus far?
Well, I'll tell you, you started off there with Garrett Cole. I'm one of these people that kind of use some caution that, boy, is he looking super out of the gate this year, and now 6-0 in his last 8 starts, going back to last September. Mm-hmm. Through that span of just a little over a 3.06 ERA, just doing fantastic. And that development, I think the Pirates, Neil Huntington and the gang just have to be off their nut happy with this guy. I mean, his development is just amazing. Pedro Alvarez seems to be getting into the groove here. A little homer there yesterday, and after what looked like a shaky start, 0-3, now we're back even 6-6. And boy, those Brewers. Yeah, it's their worst start ever in team history.
Yeah, it's a long set. It's a long season. But, Jimmy, having said that, you know, the Buccos finally took that 3-game set from the Brewers. That's the first time since June 2013. What's your impressions of guys like Jody Mercer now, who got hurt yesterday, and maybe Alvarez looks like his bat is coming around these days? What do you think?
Well, I think it was really good that Pittsburgh beat Milwaukee. Milwaukee always had Pittsburgh's number. I remember a few years ago where Milwaukee beat Pittsburgh, something like 20-2 or something like that.
Right.
But yeah, they always had their numbers. So I'm really happy to see the Pirates coming around. They're playing the Cubs. They're in the rain delay right now in Pittsburgh. Mm-hmm. So I think their bats are coming around. I really like to see Pedro do a little bit more with the bat.
Yeah.
He gets hot. The thing about Pedro, he gets on these hot streaks.
Yeah.
He'll swing, and he'll hit home runs, singles, RBIs, and then for 2-3 weeks straight, the only thing he does is strike out. So I like to see more consistency with the bull. But other than that, I think they're doing a real good job in Pittsburgh.
Well, speaking of them getting together with the Cubs in this series now that opened up tonight, Jeff, the Cubs have finally brought up their third baseman, Bryant, who they brought him out of AAA ball. You know, they thought that perhaps they'd bring him in early spring, but because of the free agency thing, they're not going to have to pay him now until they get down the road here. What significance will he play in this series against the Pirates? Because, they've not really seen this kid before.
Well, there's the elements you just don't know what this kid's going to bring to the plate. But, the Cubs are pretty high on him, and I don't think anyone expected him to stay down at the AAA level very long and would be back up in the big show real fast. Here he is. So I'm kind of anxious to see what he does now that he's up here. And hey, why not against our Buccos? What do the Cubs come in? I think they're 6-6 or 6-5. So
Yeah.
ought to be a good matchup if they get the raindrops stopped.
Well, he was actually brought in like Friday, so he did get a chance to get some bats in over the weekend. Jimmy, having said that, Gregory Polanco was in the same situation. It was kind of frustrating for him because he was being held down in AAA ball last year, basically so they could suppress his service time, So how's Polanco doing now that they finally got him up here? Of course, he got plunked yesterday.
Yeah, I think the thing about Gregory Polanco is you and the Bryan kid from the Cubs.
Yeah, Chris Bryant.
Chris Bryant. AAA is so much different than Major League.
Oh, no doubt, right.
And Polanco did awesome in AAA. Bryant did awesome in AAA. You're looking at a whole new ball game whenever you come up into the majors. And the thing about Gregory Polanco, I think he had that 1 year under his belt. I'm still not a huge fan of Polanco,
yeah,
but he had that 1 year under his belt. He sort of knows what to do in the major league level, and that's something that this Bryant's going to look at right now because everybody's looking at him, even in spring training, as Rookie of the Year.
Oh, yeah, no doubt.
There's so much pressure on him right now that he's a young kid. There's so much pressure on him that they're going to say, okay, he's a Rookie of the Year. He's not going to be another Mike Trout. He's not going to be another Andrew McCutchen. In the sense is there's so much more pressure on him as a rookie than them guys had.
Well, we also can relate to the fact he's not going to be another Bryce Harper.
Bryce Harper.
But having said that, Jeffrey, one of the things I think about when we think about these young kids who are coming up, they don't have any data on them yet. They don't have any tape on them yet. So they're able to exceed and excel the first round bout. You remember sort of like Tim Wakeman when he was a pitcher for the Pirates years ago? And he threw that knuckleball, and every team was befuddled the first time around.
And it's the same. I don't care what level you're at. It's just in a bigger arena. Whenever you get to this, that first time you have that kid on the mound. I don't care if it's Kingerleg, and kids haven't seen him hit off of him before.
Right.
They have some success, but it doesn't take too long for the pros to catch up, find the habits, find the patterns, and they'll figure it out. But the kid there with the Cubs, he'll have his element of surprise here for a few weeks. But it won't take long to he'll be right back there, and he may turn out to be everything that they're expecting. But I expect good things out of him here at the start, as you say, just getting that first look at him, but after you get that first pass through, the mystery's gone.
Yeah, that was Tim Wakefield I was thinking about, that was with the Pirates for years and then went on to, of course, finish out a rather illustrious career with the Boston Red Sox. But going back to this on Monday Night Sports Talk, we've got Jimmy Ty live in Johnstown, Jeff Speck with us live from Huntington, and Greg Banks in the studio. If you'd like to be a part of our show, by the way, call us 814-619-4286. Again, that number is 814-619-4286 is the number to call. Again, when we see these young kids coming up, Jimmy, is there anybody impresses you thus far this season on the pitching staff or maybe the hitters or defensively for the Pirates this year? Anybody that kind of sticks out there?
Marte.
Okay.
I like Sterling Marte, even though he's batting 171. He'll come around. Don't worry, everybody. Marte will come around. He had a huge blast. I think it was 471 feet on, Saturday?
Yeah, okay.
Or Friday night.
Right.
So Marte, I really think Marte is going to come around. I really don't know too much about Kahn. He's batting...
Well, he's like 187 or something.
Yeah,
he really hasn't had that
much. I really don't know too much about him. On the pitching side, the one guy they brought over from the Philadelphia Phillies, that Bastardo.
Oh, okay, yeah.
He can throw a rocket, and so can that Camarero.
Right.
He can throw 100 miles an hour. Them two guys impressed me a lot on their bullpen.
Jeff, behind the plate there, Cervelli, he's not looking too bad. I mean, he's everything that we thought he would be when he came over from the Yankees. Do you agree with that, or do you see where there might be some competition between he and maybe Sanchez?
Well, I like how Sanchez has definitely stepped it up this year and had an excellent spring training. But someone had to step in there and fill some pretty big shoes. So there wasn't a big room there for a learning curve. And Cervelli seems to be the real deal and gaining more confidence. I do like what I see back there because to me that's that's the key to the whole club. And Russell Martin is a tough act to follow.
Right, indeed. By the way, Pirates taking on the Chicago Cubs. Jimmy and Jeff will keep us abreast of that if they're watching the game tonight with an update of the scores throughout the evening. Also, Penguins hitting the ice against the New York Rangers. They're back at the Console Energy Center. We'll talk about that coming up later on in the show. Let me ask you this real quick, Jimmy. A-Rod, he's having a spectacular season here now already. The guy's hit like anywhere from 4 to 6 homers, I believe. He's batting .361. He's almost 40 years old. Now, I'm a little skeptical, and you guys can address this if you will. Is he having an amazing season? Definitely different than what we thought because he sat out last year. But are you skeptical because of these PEDs? And should we be skeptical since we assume, now I'm only assuming this, that Major League Baseball is testing him damn near every week? First Jimmy and then Jeff.
They should test him damn near every day, first off.
All right.
And the second thing is every hit he has, every home run A-Rod has should have an asterisk next to it.
Okay.
I think he is still, even though he says he's clean, he had that year of suspension, he learned his lesson.
Yeah.
I still think somewhere in one of his mega mansions, wherever they are, New York, Miami, wherever, he's doping up.
Yeah, but people were going to say
he's still doping up, and every hit he gets should have an asterisk. He's a good baseball player, and yes, it takes skill to hit a baseball, but come on now.
So you still don't believe that this guy for a minute can't have a half-decent batting average and these homers this early in this season because he had a year off, so you're sort of still skeptical. Jeff, what do you think about that thing with A-Rod?
I think better athletes do better drugs, and if you got the drugs, there's probably a better way to mask it. I guess I'm a little bit more than skeptical. I just, I would like to believe, but been burned too many times believing, and especially when you, getting up in years like he is. In the year off, to come back here and just, be back at A-Rod levels, boy. I'm a doubting Thomas for sure.
Well, do you think that the MLB would overlook something like that? I mean, let's face it, he's A-Rod, and, chances are, he's already gotten burned on these PEDs. You think they're just going to let this guy slide?
No, I think they probably are doing more testing on him and demanding more out of that, and they're probably watching him because, boy, if that's one thing they don't need is another flare-up from A-Rod.
Yeah, well, one thing Jeff mentioned, Jimmy, was this masking thing. We're getting so technical these days when it comes to drugs and things that we ingest in our bodies that they could be masked. You think maybe A-Rod could be playing that game where he can actually maybe came up with a better way to mask his drug use?
He's making $207 million. He's rich. So he can find any type of drug he wants, do it secretly, without even going into the bloodstream somehow. With the way he is. Well,
he bought those last drugs supposedly off of these guys that were down in Miami working out of a strip mall, for God's sake. With the amount of money he has, he could have probably somebody like, Johnson & Johnson or some large pharmaceutical company develop his own drugs, don't you think, Jeff?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, money's no object, and, boy, I think they've either just come up with a new dope or a new way to cover the dope.
Exactly, and apparently A-Rod has, because, hey, listen, I've not found the fountain of youth yet. I'm 60 years old. You think you're 40 until you go to jump over something, and you and you end up missing the whole damn thing, or something just looks so ridiculous. So I'm saying he's at 40, he's got to be hurting every day. And he just can't be that specimen of health that we think he is. He's even running the base paths a little faster, if you ask me. So, Hey, let's get into another subject regarding baseball here on Monday Night Sports Talk. Greg Banks in the studio, Jimmy Ty Johnstown. Live from Huntington, we've got Jeff Beck, and we'll be waiting for Dave Shannon, who will probably join us later. Pete Rose, it was announced today, although he will not be reinstated into baseball at this point, Fox TV has reached out to bring Pete into the studio And I just want to get your idea of Charlie Hustle serving as Fox Sports as a guest studio analyst, starting, I believe, in a couple of Saturdays. Jeff, what do you think? And then we'll get Jimmy's thoughts on that.
No, I think it's the first step. I think probably Major League Baseball in cahoots with Fox is testing the waters here to see how it's going to be received, and if all goes well and Charlie Hustle can keep his nose clean and do a good job, which he probably will have no problem with the assignment he's going to get. I think we're seeing the reintroduction at a slow pace in Major League Baseball, just taking the temperature and the pulse to see how the fan base is going to react.
Well, we're all going to tune in because we want to see Charlie Hustle succeed or die on television. I mean, Jimmy, no pun intended, but what's your betting strategy on Pete making out in the studio, man?
I think he'll do good. He knows baseball.
Yeah.
If there's one person who knows baseball, it's Pete Rose, Charlie Hustle. And with his insight, telling the viewers what's going on, I think it's great. And just like what Jeff said, it's the reintroduction of Pete Rose. And we'll see how he does, but I think it's a great move by Fox.
Well, let me ask you guys this, okay? So he says, quote, "I am not worried about being reinstated to baseball. However, this will be a fun gig." Jeff, for all intents and purposes, he doesn't really have to filter himself in this studio, does he? Because what are they going to do? They're not going to be able to ban him again, right?
No, I mean, he's already paid the ultimate price as far as Major League Baseball's concerned. So to him, this might be sticking the thumb in the eye of the commissioner, the past commissioners, and saying, "Hey, baseball still loves me. Baseball wants me here." And one of these days, they're going to wake up to that fact also.
Jimmy, when we get to the case of a Pete Rose, who is now 74 years old, and let's face it, baseball has changed quite a bit since Pete played. As he analyzes these teams and these games, in the studio now. Remember, he's not doing color commentary like Tim McGraw did, who did a great, not Tim McGraw, what was his name? Tim McCarver did for many years. And did a splendid job, but I remember McCarver behind the plate for, who was it, Jeff? St. Louis Cardinals during his career. Well, and Pete Rose being out on the base path, and I watched him one night in Pittsburgh at Forbes Field playing. I mean, the guy was he was crazy. He would dive head first. Television's a little bit different. Do you think the game has maybe passed him, or will he be able to relate to these young stars?
Baseball is baseball. You play it the same way. Yeah, you have the batter, the pitcher, the outfielders, the infielders.
Yeah.
Baseball is baseball. It doesn't matter if they played it with the Josh Gibson era, the Babe Ruth era,
right,
the Andrew McCutcheon era, the Pete Rose era. It's baseball, and I think he will do well.
Okay.
He knows the game. It's baseball.
Do you hate it when an analyst goes on TV like a John Kruk, though, Jeff, and says, well, back in our day, do you like to hear that, or is that something that disturbs you?
No, I'm not. I could care less of you. What you did in your day. Your glory is past. Now let's highlight what's on the field now. And naturally, we all make comparisons to this guy, that guy, and that's just natural. So it doesn't really bother me, but I don't want to hear too much about it because I'm interested in what's happening now. But you got to admit, Pete Rose, for that era, the Big Red Machine, when they were out there battling, that was none finer. I
remember the knuckleball pitcher they had named Nuxall. Was it Joe Nuxall? He threw a knuckleball. Pete Rose played. Bernie Carbo played on that team, I believe, with the Reds back then. I mean, I watched all those guys at Forbes Field. That's going way back, and also at Three Rivers, so I'm kind of familiar with it. We kind of wish Pete Rose the best of luck because you know what, Jeff, as you said, this may be the gateway for him to get back into baseball. And basically, Major League Baseball might be allowing this to happen so they can get the temperature of the baseball fans so that the new commissioner might just have to say by season's end, welcome back, Pete, huh? Wouldn't that be nice?
Well, I could see it by the All-Star break with the All-Star game in Cincy. I could see maybe an accelerated rate of that happening.
In reinstatement. So we wish him the best of luck. Jimmy, another subject here on Monday Night Sports Talk. It's, of course, Monday Night Sports Talk. Jimmy Ty live in Johnstown. Jeff Speck in Huntington. Greg Banks in the studio. Steelers veteran cornerback Ike Taylor announcing his retirement last week. One of the closest people, one of the closest people in his camp, though, was, of course, Mr. Rooney, the 82-year-old owner of the Steelers. But it was time to go, don't you think, Jimmy, for him to leave? And he's basically said, Ike said, I was waiting for Troy to announce, and then I'd announce afterwards. So that's the end of an era, don't you think, Jimmy?
Yeah, it isn't an error. No matter how bad people talk about Ike Taylor, he did do a good job for the Steelers in his early years.
Yeah.
Just in the later years is what everybody remembers here in Johnstown and Pittsburgh, the way Ike played. But he was a Steeler, true and true. He could have signed with another team. He could have went somewhere else, but he wanted to stay in the black and gold. He wanted to retire as a Pittsburgh Steeler, and kudos to him. He will be missed on Sunday afternoons on the sideline with the Steelers.
Well, in recent years, Jeff, as Jimmy said, he sort of like lost his luster in terms of being able to defend anybody. Obviously, you think he maybe should have made that announcement earlier, like maybe 2 years ago?
Well, probably, but at that point it'd probably been a whole lot more tempting to sign on with another team for a year or two, and this way he's able to bow out all 12 years as a Pittsburgh Steeler. And, impressed me last year. You talk about the ultimate in teammates.
Yeah.
Whenever he stepped up and the Steelers looking to loosen some money up, and he took a little pay cut, and so he could stay with the Steelers one last year. And it might not have helped on the field him personally, but boy, that got big points for me.
Well, he certainly was one of those guys, and we often talk here on Monday Night Sports Talk about the locker room guy, one of the leaders.
Yep.
And Ike was certainly one of those vocal leaders out there. Even in the community, he was everywhere. So, even though the guy never made the Pro Bowl, and last year I believe he only even maybe saw, if he was lucky, maybe 24 snaps, before he got hurt. He'll be one of those guys remembered, but he certainly is not going to be in the Hall of Fame. But, he's probably going to go to Canton when some of his teammates go there so he can sort of cheer them on. Is that correct, Jimmy?
I don't think Ike will ever be in Canton as a Hall of Famer. I can see Troy going in as a Hall of Famer.
Oh, Troy's a no doubt. He's a first rounder,
But not Ike, and he will be there for support for Ike. For Troy Polamalu.
Right. It's Monday Night Sports Talk here on the airnetwork.net. Give us a call. We'll talk anything about sports. Tonight, 814-619-4286 is the number. 814-619-4286. Jeff Speck in Huntington. We've got Jimmy Ty in Johnstown tonight. Greg Banks in the studio as we await Dave Shannon to talk Penguin hockey. Tonight, Penguins on the ice against the Rangers at Consol Energy. That's getting underway, I imagine, if it hasn't already done so, around 7:30. Meanwhile, let's kind of fast forward. Yeah, go ahead, Jimmy.
I would like to say this about Steeler history.
Yeah.
18 years ago today, I just found this, the fortunes of the Steelers changed when they traded for Jerome Bettis.
Oh, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. How about that fortune changing, Jeff?
Yeah, was that not one of the best moves ever?
No doubt about it, man. No doubt about it. I'm glad you brought that up, Jimmy, because if that was 18 years ago today, fast forward, Antonio Brown skipping voluntary off-season workouts, which, veterans do that all the time anyhow. But the problem with this is Antonio Brown, through his camp, we're hearing that he may not even show up in the fall because he wants more money. Now, I want to get your idea on this, Jeff, and also Jimmy. It appears that he won't be around anytime soon for the next 9 weeks, which are voluntary, obviously. Now, he's already signed a 5-year extension to his rookie contract in 2012, remember, which would take him through 2017. However, he wants more money now. So what do you think the Steelers are going to do with that? You think this is just going to be maybe just a wedge here for Antonio to get his money? Because he is one of the top receivers in the league, no doubt. So how do you think that plays out, Jimmy, and then Jeff?
I don't think he'll get his money right away. He'll probably be around training camp. End of training camp. He'll be a holdout for training camp.
Right.
End of training camp, he'll get his money. So for Steeler fans out there like myself, there's nothing to worry about. Antonio Brown will be playing the first game of the season.
Yeah, but Jeff, you got to keep in mind also that contract he signed was worth close to $42 million, despite he only started 3 games in his 2 years in the league. Now, he's due $6 million, but he's asking for more. Do you think that's fair, or should he ride this out through 2017?
Well, I don't think the Steelers want to have unhappy Antonio Brown, and I think they're going to do what they have to do to keep him happy. And, you can't blame the guy because you're one play away from your career being over, and your earning potential goes to zero real fast. So,
right.
I think, it'll all come out in the wash, as they say, and don't worry, he'll be in shape because I'm sure he's working just as hard, either being at the practices or not, and he'll be in shape and ready to go, and not going to put a lot of worry into it at this point.
No, you know what, Jimmy, when Jeff mentioned that about workouts that these guys do when they're not in off-season training with their own team, which is, by the way, voluntary, these guys can hire professional trainers. They can work out with the elite of the elite. Like, for instance, if Brown decides, hey, I'm going to hang out with Larry Fitzgerald out in Arizona, a bunch of guys go out there and hang out with Larry. So, he's going to get his work in. Do you agree with that, Jimmy?
Oh yeah, he'll get his work in, and whenever he comes into camp, he'll be in shape. It's not like somebody. Just look at James Harrison. He kept himself in great shape when he came in.
Oh yeah, and he was even retired at one time.
He was retired, and he worked out by himself. So just think if a player as Antonio Brown, he will work out with the elite. He'll run the hills down in the mountain in Arizona. So he'll come in as fit.
Well, as Jeff said, as Jeff alluded to, the fact that, these guys, and of course they're off-season training anyhow by themselves, listen to some of these numbers. Brown, two-time All-Pro, 239 receptions, most in the NFL over the past 2 years, including a franchise record, 129 for 1,698 yards. He caught 13 touchdowns for the 11-5 AFC North winning Steelers. Meanwhile, there are 9 other receivers in the league making about $3 million more than he does a season, which includes Mike Wallace, also Dez Bryant, Kelvin Johnson, Vincent Jackson, Larry Fitzgerald. So, Jeff, basically what Brown is saying, I want to be in their league, and you think that's okay then, huh?
Oh yeah, and hey, I don't for anything because these guys are out there. They lay it on the line, and career can be over in one snap of the knee, and you better go after it while you can. But it interests me that we're talking about wide receivers because you'd think with Brown, Bryant, and Wheaton, why Steelers are pretty well set. But look who they've talked to, who they've had official visits with. That Perryman kid from UCF.
Oh yeah,
Sammy Coates from Auburn, and this last Friday, the boy from Arizona State. Strong is his last name. Galen Strong, I think is his name. And you'd think one position the Steelers are set at is wide receiver, but they've been visiting with a lot of people there that maybe the Steelers are also sending a message because the Steelers have fooled us in the past when they've just they've cut the strings. I don't think that's going to happen with Antonio Brown, but still the Steelers are known to tell you what. Time for us to move on.
Well, let's face it, with Ike leaving and Troy leaving, that opens up a little bit of extra money for them to play with. So, they're going to do their due diligence, and I'm sure Antonio will be back in camp again to see, of course, to help us perhaps get a Super Bowl here in the next couple of years. Meanwhile, let's kind of shift the pages here, Jimmy, to something you and I talked about earlier today. I don't know what the hell is going on down in Philadelphia, but there's 4 quarterbacks in camp now, and Tim Tebow is the latest issue. They just signed him to a 1-year contract. Now, Chip Kelly was always sort of anti-Tim Tebow. I see some quotes that he made back in 2013. And remember, Tebow's not been in the league for almost 3 years now, 2 years, where he said something about his wicked motion. You think Tebow has cleaned up his motion enough that Chip wants to keep him in camp? And who's got to leave? Because you got Sanchez, Tebow, Matt Barkley's still there, and I'm sure I forgot the other guy that's in camp. Yeah.
Well, you've got Klein.
Oh, you got
Sanchez,
Bradford there.
Bradford.
Yeah. So who? I mean, is he actually going to be able to be there in September? I'll start with Jimmy and then Jeff.
I just think he's an extra arm. I don't think he's. If Tim Tebow wants to play in the NFL, he should not be a quarterback. He should be a tight end or fullback or something. He's not a quarterback. He had one good game in the NFL, and that was against the Steelers, as we all know. And that was a lucky pass, but it's just a lucky. It's just another arm in camp.
Jeff, what's the ploy here that Chip's trying to to tell the fans out here there's got to be something behind this? Is he going to trade all 4 of those guys so he can trade up and get Mariota, or what?
Well, first of all, Sam Bradford, I mean, here he is. We're showing that he hasn't had the durability.
Oh, he's injured all the time.
He's injured all the time. Sanchez, I don't know if I'd trust him to drive me over to McDonald's to get a burger with his mental instabilities, it seems. I know nothing about Barkley and Klein to really make anything fair on them. Bradford rehabbing that torn ACL.
Yeah.
I think that probably Tebow's coming in here actually giving a shot, not to battle for the top spot, but to be a third-string quarterback. And let's think what would Chip Kelly like to do? Chip Kelly loves those people who can play different positions and give different looks. And Tim Tebow is one of those people, if he's willing to do it, could probably become the Slash,
right,
of the Philadelphia Eagles, used in different situations for QB, but also maybe put him out at wide receiver and those kinds of things. Chip Kelly, no matter what he said in the past, and the people that get down on Tebow,
yeah,
I don't know, the guy seemed to do a pretty decent job there for Denver, getting them into the playoffs, knocking the Steelers off.
No doubt.
No matter what you say, he's a winner.
Oh, he is a winner, yeah.
And the people that also, will sit there. One of the big news stories today, and now this is pretty sad, when this was one of the news stories that Tim Tebow can now throw a spiral. Well, for God's sake, based on that, they should be hiring me, because I can throw a spiral.
Yeah, but you can't be elusive like he can.
I can't be elusive to an 80-year-old woman.
Hey, but Jimmy, wrapping that story up about Tebow, I didn't know if there's anything else you wanted to add to the story, but like Jeff said, it's a non-story as far as really we're all concerned, right? I mean, I just had to bring it up, though.
It's only a story because it's Tim Tebow. If the guy's name was Jimmy Ty going to the Philadelphia Eagles, you think anybody's going to be talking about it?
No.
It's because it's Tim Tebow, the god of the University of Florida.
Well, here again, I think you made mention of it, and I, for the life of me, cannot understand why Tebow has not been asked to play another position in the league. And so as
he doesn't want to.
Yeah, and
he just wants to be a quarterback.
Okay, and as Jeff said, he's an athlete, and we had Carlton Hasselrig on with us a few weeks ago, from the Steelers, and of course, he was purely an athlete that Chuck Noll picked up and put on the Steelers, and then Carlton became a Pro Bowler. So, those days aren't gone, because I understand there are some basketball players coming to camp, who weren't going on to the NBA, but the NFL wants to look at these guys as receivers, sort of like Jimmy Graham of New Orleans Saints. So, the day of the athlete is not gone. Tebow is an athlete, and he could probably play anywhere on the field except maybe quarterback in the NFL. Now, in the CFL, he probably should have some success. So we'll leave that story kind of lie and die as we get closer to the NFL draft. In the meanwhile, this is Monday Night Sports Talk. I'm here with Jeff Speck from Huntington, Jimmy Ty from Johnstown, Greg Banks in the studio. Call us up. We've got one more story to add about football, and you can talk about this coming up next at 814-619-4286. It's 814-619-4286 as the Monday Night Sports Talk continues after this. Need printing services done with quality, on time, and at a reasonable price? Then stop by Images Print Shop in downtown Huntington, where they can help you design and print brochures, business forms, business cards, newsletters, flyers, and so much more. Images Print Shop is your hometown print shop and web hosting service dedicated to excellent and quality service at affordable prices. See what Images Print Shop can do for you online at imagesprintshop.com or call us weekdays from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. at 643-1796.
Kick off your appetite with great food from Original Italian Pizza in downtown Huntington, where Bearcat fans huddle up before and after the big game. OIP in downtown Huntington provides your taste buds with appetizers, dinners, pizzas, subs, and so much more. Stop by OIP in downtown Huntington for a sandwich, meal, and cold drinks 7 days a week, or call ahead for takeouts at 643-0665 or 643-0666. OIP in downtown Huntington with the best food and the lowest prices in town.
Hey, Frank, some of us are going out for lunch. Want to join? No thanks. I won't be able to make it for a while. My son's heading to a 4-year university this fall, and I'm watching every penny I can to help him with tuition.
Yeah, that can be so expensive. My daughter decided to go to Pennsylvania Highlands Community College. She'll earn her associate degree in 2 years before transferring to earn her bachelor's. I'll be able to save thousands by her attending Penn Highlands first.
Pennsylvania Highlands, really? My son is stuck on attending a 4-year university right away, far from home.
My daughter was the same until I explained to her that she'd end up with the same degree and far less debt. I don't want to see her starting out her adult life with a lot of debt. Penn Highlands just made the most sense. So, enjoy lunch.
Hey, wait for me.
I thought you couldn't afford to eat out.
That was before you mentioned Penn Highlands. How do I find out how to get my son enrolled?
I'll fill you in over lunch, but start by visiting Pennsylvania Highlands online at pennhighlands.edu.
It's Monday Night Sports Talk here on the AirNetwork.net with Greg Banks in the studio. By the way, my number, 814-619-4286. That's 814-619-4286. You can call us up. We're live every Monday night from 7 to 8. Joined by Jeff Speck in Huntington and Jimmy Ty live in Johnstown. And we hope to talk with Dave Shannon. But you know what, guys? He might just be watching some of that hockey game getting underway between the Penguins and the Rangers.
Good bet.
Yeah, that could be a good bet. Plus, he has a show at 8 o'clock to do with Erie Explosion football. But let me stay on football just for a second yet, where I saw a report today out of Newsday where the writer, the columnist, who also does work for ESPN, has a tendency to think now that the Bucks might just deal away their number one pick because they need so much more than a quarterback. Now, we all know that Jameis Winston was the man that the Bucks obviously wanted, but Jeff, having said that, they have all these other needs, and with this last civil case coming up against Jameis Winston, you think that's a reason for them maybe to slide away from this and move on?
Well, probably, and in these opportunities, there's something that doesn't come along for most teams. What was the Buccaneers? I had heard that it's been like the first time in 26, 27 years they've ever had the top round pick. But, they're set up. They're going to be first or second pick in every round throughout the draft. So, if they've got other needs out there and can get something better for that first-round pick, hey, what the heck? Why not give it up?
What do you think is, Jimmy, because they do want to shy away from this lady who now has filed this civil case against Winston because he will be the face of the franchise. Let's face it, if you're a lineman, you're not the face of the franchise. The quarterback is, and he's a high-profile quarterback.
I would shy away from Winston right now. I didn't like him in college. I still don't like him even if he's a pro. I think that he's a problem child. Look what he did at Florida State, not playing football. He stood up in the middle of campus and yelled obscenities. Tampa Bay wants to try to make, a push this year coming up. You could go get a quarterback like a Bryce Petty.
Well, wait a second. Wait a second. They already have a quarterback in camp. What's his name? The Glennon kid's only 25 years old.
Mike Glennon, they have Seth Labrato in camp. But why don't you try to go out and get a player like a Bryce Petty? You know he's going to be there in the second round. Their running back situation's horrible. They have 3 running backs.
So they need running backs.
They need running backs. Their key running back, Doug Martin, he's injured half of the year.
Right.
So once you trade down, once you build up a couple more picks in the second round, third round, go after a rookie quarterback, go after a running back. And if you look at the wide receivers are okay because you have Vincent Jackson, and you have the Mike Evans as your 1-2 punch. But go after a running back and go after a quarterback in the second round is what the Bucs should do.
And they need some linemen too, Jeff. So having said that, as Jimmy went through this litany of some quarterbacks possibilities, there is Bryce Petty of Baylor. There's Garrett Grayson of Colorado. There's Brett Hundley from UCLA. So they can actually go after one of those guys and then load up on everything else that they want. Isn't that correct?
Yeah. There's going to be some quality people left there whenever you get it because they're high enough in the second round even that there's going to be some quality names out there on the table, and boy, you certainly avoid a possible media circus if you let Winston go past.
Yeah, there's no doubt that if that kid comes into camp with this latest filing of this civil lawsuit now against him, and there's a documentary coming out very shortly, if not already, with this woman in the documentary. And witnesses, even though they didn't want to prosecute him down in Florida, it becomes, as you said, Jeff, a media circus. And just like with, what was the guy's name from Missouri that came into camp? He was Michael Sam. That becomes a circus, man. And that becomes a distraction for the rest of your players.
Yeah, and Winston's going to make Johnny Football look like,
no doubt.
like funny pages compared to what this is going to be.
Yeah, speaking of Johnny Football, he's out of rehab now. Let's just real quickly find out, what do you think the Browns are going to do? Now, they did change their uniforms to protect the innocent. I hate the uniforms because it looks like they're trying to be like Oregon State where they have a different uniform every week, and it's like, get rid of that god-awful helmet or put a logo on it. What the hell is a brown anyhow,
The Cleve Brownies, dude. Just put a big brownie on it.
Well, what is a brownie, though? That's what I'm saying. Put one on your helmet or something. Okay, so having said that, so where do you see Johnny Manziel going, Jimmy? Or is he just going to ride the pines and then they're going to find another quarterback this season? What's going to happen with him?
Oh, that's a good question. He already lost the trust in his team.
Oh, there's no doubt, yeah.
He lost the trust in his team. He has to come in to camp and win over them veterans like Joe Thomas, who else? Who else is on that team?
I'd be almost.
Joe Hayden. He has to win that. He has to win that
Yeah.
trust. And once he wins that trust, I think they'll be all right. And he has to stay on the clean side. He can't drink. He can't go out and party. He can't have that entourage. He came in as a cocky 20-year-old.
Yeah, he did. But here again,
20-year-old.
if I were Johnny Manziel, I don't even know if I'd want to go to camp because these guys would be duct taping me to the locker, the goalpost, and giving me noogies every day. And like you said, you lose so much respect. So, and he's not going to throw me the ball, which is going to piss me off even more, sort of like a Des Bryant thing. So, I don't know where that's going, but we'll leave it alone. Hey, over the weekend, did either one of you guys get a chance to watch either the blue and white game or the Pitt game, spring practice this weekend? Jimmy first, and then Jeff?
No, I did not. I was traveling all weekend,
Oh,
and all
okay.
week. So, no, I did not. But I did check it out online. I know there was I don't know nothing at all about Penn State.
Yeah.
I just know with the University of Pittsburgh, Larry Fitzgerald came back.
Oh, yeah, a lot of their guys came back.
It was Aaron Donald came back. It was AD
Shady was
versus.
there.
Yeah,
It was
yeah, Shady was there.
Shady was there. It was Aaron Donald's team versus Larry Fitzgerald's team.
Yeah.
And I know that Chad Boychuk and James Conner and Tyler Boyd were all on the blue squad. So, yeah, I think Pitt's going to do all right this year. They're going to come in. They're going to be an aggressive team, new coach, new system. I think they're going to be okay.
Well, okay, here again, speaking of the new coach, Pat Nardozzi, he was talking about putting his foot somewhere late in the fourth quarter. We weren't sure if he was going to put up somebody's rear or what, but he gave me – I had reminiscent. All of a sudden I had this flashback to George Weaver, Jeff.
There you go.
One
George
of our
Weaver
old,
and Cease Jackson.
Yeah, Cease Jackson, one of our old coaches at Huntington High School, because when they said I'm putting my foot there, it went there. And, they're just giving
they
you
had this big wide strap belt looked like it was about 8 inches wide.
Oh, yeah, that was the razor strap. But anyhow, that's what this guy kind of brought to me this weekend. The final score, Jimmy, by the way, was 17-10, I believe, or something like that. Now, there was an announced crowd of about 5,300 people. We will get to Penn State in a minute, because that always blows my mind. But 5,300 people. They played at, where was it, Highmark Stadium. To which Narduzzi, Narduzzi said, "We're not playing here ever again." He goes, "I'm playing over at Heinz Field next year." And I don't know why they weren't able to play at Heinz Field. There must have been something, a conflict. But having
town.
Okay,
it was the construction of Heinz Field. They were redoing some stuff in Heinz Field. Right
Is that
now.
what it was? Okay,
Yeah.
Down on the one end zone, they're putting in new seating and such, and have it pretty well toured up.
But it didn't look like, from the news reports that I got, that anybody was doing all that well. For instance, running back Corday Olison had runs of 11 and 12 yards for the blue team. I'm looking here for James Conner and Tyler Boyd. Now, Boyd did have an impressive first half, included 6 catches for 112 yards. But then getting back to running back James Conner, they said he didn't play after the midway point of the second quarter. However, he did score a 2-yard touchdown. So that was kind of interesting. We'll see how that works out. It's only the spring yet, so don't get excited.
Well,
now,
the defense
that's
looked
what
pretty,
shined.
That looked pretty nice out there at Pitt on Saturday.
And they did say the defense did shine in that Pitt football game, so they have something to look forward to, you know. Now, having said that, Penn State, let's talk a little bit about the Penn State game and some of the, of course, after NCAA sanctions. Jeff, now it seems that James Franklin is feeling more comfortable. He's got his guys in camp, although next year will be the true year. How do you think he saw that game with Christian Hackenberg and those guys on Sunday or Saturday?
I think the fans have finally they've settled in on their guy. Franklin seems to be the one. I think they're just hoping he's going to stick around for the long haul. And I don't know. I think those people that were saying Penn State football was going to take 5, 10, 15 years to recover. I think they're well on the road to recovery, and the fan base hasn't left them. I mean, it's just a crazy scene over there last weekend, and so Penn State football is going to be just fine.
But here again, Franklin walked into that situation last year after O'Brien left. Obviously, he had to get his feet under him. He's a great recruiter, a great cheerleader, and most of his year was. Remember, they also had some turnover in the coaching staff, so now they're kind of solidified. I think they're feeling a little bit more comfortable, I guess is the best way to put it now. But having said that, it was a splendid, beautiful day for a spring game at Penn State. I don't know what the numbers were in the crowds. There were probably, 1 million people in the parking lot.
Well, they said, I think I heard it somewhere that was the third highest blue-white game attendance in history.
Yeah, now, if I'm not mistaken, those are free, correct? Free parking and that whole bit, too?
Yeah, that's probably what brings a lot of them in.
Oh, exactly. No doubt. No doubt. Because, I mean, it's hard to get that ticket if you're not a season ticket holder sometimes to get to those actual games. Now, I watched the Ohio State game, Scarlet Gray game on the Big Ten Network, and the reason I watched that along with the Penn State game was to see who was going to play quarterback for Ohio State. And the guy that took the most snaps was the guy that wrapped up the season as the national champions last year.
Cordell Jones.
Yeah, exactly, Jones. And he looked good. He looked like he hadn't missed a step. TJ, was it Bartlett?
JT Bartlett.
Well, he was sitting on the sidelines. I think Braxton Miller never got in. So they've got some new guys coming up. Who would want to get involved in that fray, Jeff? And then, Jimmy, I mean, if you were a kid, let's say an Urban came to your school and said, hey, listen, I'd like you to be my quarterback. Well, hell, when am I going to be your quarterback, Coach? I mean, isn't that what you would say?
Yeah, it looks a little full right now, and I think I might be taking my craft somewhere else at this point. And what a great position to be in, though. And of course, if he came calling on me, it'd be pretty hard not to talk seriously with the coach, though.
Yeah, and Jimmy, you were talking about all the alums that came back to Pitt. Well, hell, can you imagine the Heisman Trophy winners and the alum that went back to Ohio State this weekend?
Wow.
You know, and it was just outrageous. The horseshoe was packed, man, to the rim. And it looked like everybody that went into the NFL in the last 10 years was back on that field, on Saturday. And to my dismay, I thought the kid was leaving. What was his name? The defenseman, Bozeman, or, I can't remember his name, but he was their linebacker last year for Ohio State. He's back again.
Yeah.
And he's going to be menacing, man. I thought the guy was going to leave for the NFL, but apparently he wasn't old enough. So anyhow, that ought to be interesting. We'll kind of follow that. Spring practice is over, but the coach's job is never done. It's Monday Night Sports Talk here on the airnetwork.net. Jeff Speck in Huntington. We've got Jimmy Ty in Johnstown. And guess what? We will talk about the Penguins. That's right, talk about the Penguins coming up next because they're getting ready, if not already, on the ice against the New York Rangers. And I believe, what is that, Game 3 tonight, guys?
Number 3.
Game 3.
Pittsburgh.
Man, they got to have a shift in that game. And we hope to tell you more about that coming up next here on the airnetwork.net. Stick around. If you're searching for a used vehicle, or perhaps a used boat for a leisurely trip on the lake, find them today online at penswoods.net. From things for sale or things to buy, the free classifieds at penswoods.net have it all. From houses for sale, apartments for rent, or even things to trade. Penswoods.net is the region's largest site for free classifieds. Check it out today and make money or save money at Penswoods.net. Restore the luster of your home or business now by calling Ted's Painting and Drywall at 814-641-0479. Ted's Painting and Drywall does quality exterior and interior painting, staining, faux finishing, trim work, and wall repair. Plus, Ted's Painting and Drywall can remove wallpaper and finish drywall for one room or the whole house. Ted's Painting and Drywall, a licensed contractor offering a 20% discount to seniors and 35% discount to churches. Book your work now at Ted's Painting and Drywall. Call 641-0479.
The Burns Law Firm is an experienced law firm located at 104 South Center Street in Evansburg, just steps away from the Cambria County Courthouse. Attorney Tim Burns and his staff will provide you with professional expertise in DUI, family law, personal injury claims, plus other areas of law at reasonable rates and fees. Contact Attorney Tim Burns for a consultation by calling 814-471-1701 or online at www.attytimburns.com. For more information.
Steiner, 4 miles east of Huntingdon on Route 22, is keeping it fresh daily with great food at a great value for family and friends in a fun atmosphere. From their fresh-cut French fries, home-baked pies, and their home-style cooking, Top Steiner is the #1 destination for many hungry appetites. Stop by Top Steiner for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and great service 7 days a week. Top Steiner, east of Huntingdon on Route 22 for excellent service and delicious home cooking at a great value every day.
I'm coming home. What does sacrifice mean to you? Is it giving up your time and energy to keep America safe? Is it putting yourself in harm's way to protect our nation's way of life? No? Then maybe it's giving up that third latte to take care of the heroes that do.
The VFW makes it easy to help. Just call 1-855-9-HELP-VET. That's 855-9-HELP-VET.
The VFW. No one does more for veterans.
This message brought to you by the Huntingdon VFW, Post 1754 on Penn Street. It's Monday Night Sports Talk on the AirNetwork.net, and I think it's raining all over the world. You might be getting hail where you are. We're catching hail here. At least Jimmy Ty is up in Richland. That's the Johnstown. Jeff Speck, of course, from Huntingdon. You got your rain showers earlier and your clouds. And,
we're catching hail from Jenny, who doesn't want to talk about the pen. She wants to talk about AJ.
Yeah, hey, saying hi to Jenny and Marty down in Huntingdon tonight. I hope you guys didn't get rained out at Little League, but things are rained out here in Johnstown for sure. There's no doubt about that's going to happen. But AJ, he looked good his first outing this season. Yep. And, what else can I say? I mean, he's a veteran. He's going to be the anchor of that staff for sure. But I see some other guys coming on like Worley and, as we mentioned, Garrett Cole earlier in the program tonight. So
and I think Morton has one more extended spring training game left, and then they'll evaluate and see what's going to happen here with Charlie and get him back off that hip surgery.
Well, that would be nice because they need to have that solid rotation, man, and that's the only way they're going to get into the into the playoffs this year. Let's face it, they've got a great offense going, or at least we know that they will have by All-Star break. Having said that, now Pirates are playing tonight. Anybody have an update on that game thus far?
It's still rain delay.
Oh, rain delay. Okay, so now are they playing it in Chicago or are they playing in Pittsburgh?
Pittsburgh.
Oh, man, that's going to be a busy city tonight traffic-wise. Yeah. And you got the Penguins, you got the oh, my God, that's going to be real busy out there. I hope they don't shut down the tunnels, man. You'll never be able to get out, huh? They might be flooded out down there.
Yeah.
Hey, speaking of the Penguins now, listen, and I know it's early in this series, and the Rangers have basically taken everything from them, but they couldn't take it away from them on Saturday as the Penguins defeated the Rangers 4-3. In Game 2 of that Eastern Conference first-round playoff series. Crosby, by the way, was one of the best players on the ice on Saturday. That, according to Penguins center Maxime Lapierre. He was awesome, and Kunitz wasn't far behind there. So what can I tell you? Let's add this person to our group call right now as we get ready for the Penguins. Hi, this is Sports Talk. Who's on the line with us?
Hey, this is Jenny Everhart. How are you?
Hey, it's Jenny. Well, glad to have you along real quick. We're talking about the Penguins now, but we did Marty, we did mention AJ, didn't we, Jeff?
We did indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, we did.
So, hey, did you guys get rained out down there in Huntingdon, or what's going on down there?
I'm at home. but we got rained. But Pirates are winning 1-0.
Oh, okay.
Oh, they
good.
are? Okay.
Okay, so they're back.
Yeah.
They're back to playing. The rain delay's over. And has Bryant done anything for the Cubs yet? The new young kid they brought in, the Phenom.
I don't know. I just got an update from ESPN because it's not even on TV or anything.
Oh, that's right, because the Penguins would be on Root Sports or one of those
Right.
NBC affiliates tonight,
Right.
I imagine, huh? All
Right.
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 Hey, but
I just wanted to tell you, he said they wasn't on, and I just got an update. Pirates are winning 1-0.
Okay, well, thank you, Jenny, for that update. Tell Marty,
All right.
tell Marty we said hi.
He's in a Little League meeting.
Okay, well, have a good
All right.
time down there in Huntington. Thanks
All right.
again.
Bye.
Bye-bye. That was Jenny and Marty from Huntington calling in to let us know that game is underway, Jimmy. So what channel would that be on, Major League Baseball, or probably WGN now, huh?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, out of
right
Chicago.
now, they're going to be having the Pens game on Root Sports today. So
Yeah.
I think right now, I'm sorry to say this, Jenny, but the Penguins trump the Pirates right now.
Well, Jenny's off the line now, but she's listening. She's listening, and
Yeah.
we appreciate you listening in. But do like Jenny did if you ever want to call us, 814-619-4286. We always have room for another voice at 814-619-4286. Okay, so, Jeff, we're tied up at one apiece here now.
Yep.
Is there any glimmering hope for the Penguins in this serious? I mean, this Eastern Conference is serious, and Rangers have pummeled them all season. Is there hope?
Sidney Crosby is playing like someone who's majorly PO'd, and he just looked he's fantastic when he's down low and working over in that corner, spinning around. And the only thing, boy, now if we could get Malkin, what did he have? He had 4 shots in the first 2 games, and it's obvious that Malkin's not at 100%. And boy, if you can just get him some more in there, I still say the Penguins are going to pull one off here in this first series. And boy, if they play the way they did Saturday night, and that's nice going into New York and bringing one home. But you got those Rangers. There's been nobody better on the road than they've been this year. And,
well, that's what I'm saying. They're Penguins killers because they kill Penguins at home every year. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Recently.
Yep, so.
But having said that, Jimmy, Jeff mentioned Malkin here. Why don't they put them on the same line here? I mean, it seems to me that you could put Malkin, also Crosby, and maybe Kunitz all on the same line and really have that strength. But this coach just doesn't seem to get it. But a lot of fans are saying it's obvious they should be there.
I agree with the fans. They should be there. But right now, the score is 1-0 in the first period, Rangers.
Okay, well.
But to answer your question, I think Malkin should be on that first line with Kunitz, with Crosby. That would be one of the best lines in all of hockey. But Johnson doesn't know what he's doing. Like Dave always says, he's a junior hockey coach.
Yeah, and that's
he
sad.
He doesn't know, and it's sad that Jim Rutherford hired this guy.
Yeah,
and he's clueless. When you look at him on TV or you listen to his interviews, he looks like the guy from Mayberry.
Well, the sad thing is, and that, looks are deceiving. Maybe he's a real tough guy and beats up on the players when he gets into the locker room.
He looks like he's clueless.
He looks like a mild-mannered substitute teacher, that we used to have in high school. And it was like fresh meat when they walked into the room and they said to you, "Hello, I'm here for Mr. Jones today." And we're like, "Oh, you're a dead man." You know what I mean? And so maybe that's the perception that these players are getting. They're kind of shaking their head when they're away from the media going, "Oh, geez." And Rutherford's not going to change his mind. He's already said he's sticking with his coaching staff. You know what I mean? This guy brings some junior league hockey experience, and he must know somebody that, how you're in a job, Jeff, let's say.
Yep.
And you've got the experience, but there's this cat that gets the promotion over you because he knows somebody that knows somebody that knows something. And you're like, I'm working for this idiot.
But the coach of an NHL team, boy, it's all out there flying high for everyone to see and know and pick apart.
Mm-hmm. But the thing about that series is the Rangers, for Pittsburgh to win, the Flower has to be hot.
Yeah.
He has to be on his A game, and they have to get them goals past Henry Lundqvist, who is one of the top goalies in the NHL. They did that Saturday night. Now, can they do it tonight in Game 3?
And you're talking about the
Can
Flower.
they do it in Game 4?
Yeah, and you're talking about the Flower back there. He needs help too, man. Guys have to get back and play defense. You know what I'm saying? They've got to get back.
Saved that game.
Oh, my God.
If you watch that replay, Marc Andre Fleury let a puck go past them. If it wasn't for the quick stick of Evgeny Malkin, that game would have been tied at 3-3.
Well, how do you see this?
He's going down to the ice and pulls that one off.
Yeah, and how do you guys see this series, seriously now, how do you see this series panning out? Do you see perhaps, the Rangers winning out now, or do you think maybe this Penguins will stay in it?
I'm going to say I'm a huge Pens fan. I love my Penguins, but I got to look at reality right now.
That's what I'm saying.
There's too many stupid penalties. If Pittsburgh lays off the penalties, they had 8 penalties.
Right.
8 penalties in that game Saturday night to New York's 2 penalties.
So they're killing themselves, man.
They are killing themselves.
And the others,
they're doing stupid penalties. So for Pittsburgh to win that series, they have to lay off the penalties. But I don't think that's going to happen because they are very undisciplined. Rangers in 5. And
Rangers in 5. What do you think, Jeff, real quick?
I'm gonna stick with my Pens. I don't know. I just think they've been in a playoff run. They've been getting run down by the fans, by the media, and I think now that they're here, and I like that fire I saw in Crosby on Saturday night. He just looked PO'd.
Yes, he did.
And I think they can carry that on and maybe pull off a surprise here in this first round, but I don't think it would go any further than that if they actually eke this one out.
Okay, it's Game 3 of the Eastern Conference playoffs between the Penguins and Rangers tonight, and the Rangers lead this now in the first 1-0. Meanwhile, guys, real quick, I'm going to ask you this question. Who's better, LeBron James or Michael Jordan?
No, brother.
Jordan.
Come on. Okay, you say Jordan. Who do you say, Jeff?
Yeah, at this point, I gotta stick with Air Jordan. I'm on that one. But
obviously, you should have talked to this guy on Saturday at Penn State. State College man faces charges stemming from 2 arrests on Saturday. Daniel Mondelez was taken into custody by state police around 3:50 a.m. on Saturday after they responded to his apartment about a reported fight. Apparently, Mondelez and another guy got into a fight over who's better, Jordan or LeBron. So Mondelez beat the guy up. Cops take him in to be arraigned before the district justice. He's charged with felony aggravated assault and misdemeanor of taking terroristic threats and simple assault. He's then released on $30,000 unsecured bail. Now, remember, this happened at 3:15 in the morning. He's released at 10. He's back in jail by 6:30 because he goes to another apartment and gets into another fight Saturday night. So
that is a fan there, buddy.
No, you know what that is? That's crazy, man.
That's alcohol talking.
Yes, it was. It was alcohol talking, and I don't know what he got after he got all sobered up.
At least we know his hot button issue to set him off, though.
Well, here's the sad part. We still don't know. Hey, did he like LeBron or did he like Michael Jordan? Because he beat up the guy, and we never did find out. Well, who do you like? Well, guess what? He's in the pokey now. He'll be sitting over there at that brand new Benner State Prison. And I guess